Now, presenting his budget earlier this week, the recently elected Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality Executive Mayor Gary van Niekerk said his mayoral committee will be a crucial part of implementing his pro-poor agenda with a strong focus on service delivery and local economic development. Now, the Nelson Mandela Bay is one of those metros that's facing water challenges that's brought on by old infrastructure as well as drought. As one of his critical goals, van Niekerk says more than 100 jobs for the youth in the trade and export industry will be created during his administration's first 100 days in office. The Northern Alliance councillor and former council speaker is the city's third mayor since the 2021 local government elections. He joins us now. Hopefully the connection is a lot better, Mayor. So let's get straight into it. So you have been in the position for just over 2 weeks. Why do you think that this new alliance that has been formed has chosen you to be the mayor?
Good morning, Leanne. Yes, the connection is much better. Regarding me being chosen as mayor, you know that there's a decision taken by the EFF as well as the ANC that they won't contest mayor nationally, and that automatically meant that the next party in line was myself. And being the Speaker of Council previously, I do have experience. Our party do have 3 seats in council, and being a pro-poor party as well, it was decided that myself be chosen as the mayor going forward.
Yeah, you know, Mayor, it's quite hard to get into sort of the nitty-gritty of what you said you're going to be doing, particularly with this pro-poor agenda that you do have, which is important. Let's perhaps maybe just iron out some of the behind-the-scenes issues as well. I mean, one of the most radical things I heard actually, or was reading about, is about 300 shack dwellers that actually took to the streets in a completely different version of a protest. And this was because the mayor that was before you, Retief Odendaal, was being taken away because they were saying he was doing such a good job. He was doing what should have been done many, many years ago in terms of bringing in toilets, helping them, having cleaned them every second day, and to actually just make them feel dignified. So from the perspective of the people in Nelson Mandela Bay, does anybody really care about how they feel as opposed to the political wranglings that are happening at the top?
Leanne, I can tell you this much. I live in the northern areas myself, and I love the truth, and that truth being that we are still being marginalized in the northern areas. I've been in the townships in the last few days. Yesterday I was in the Bayland community, also shack dwellers, where we went and we saw what brilliant work is being done by the community. But the narrative that's being told out there about the shack dwellers being happy, that couldn't be further from the truth. When we go into the townships and into the northern areas where the people are still living in squalor, as recently as Monday, where raw feces was running down the streets, that is what we're going to change. That is what we're talking about, pro-poor, and it's not in some back streets of the northern areas on the township. It's on our main roads. We see it every day. So that narrative that's being pushed, that shack dwellers are now protesting in favor of Retief Odendaal, that's something totally different. I wasn't made aware of any of those shack dwellers protesting in favor of the previous government.
So you actually don't know that story. I'll send it to you. It'll make for some interesting reading, I imagine, for you, because they were complimenting him and saying that he is actually doing things that should have been done a long time ago. But let's leave it at that. We will send you that particular article. But
thank you.
The problem as well is the fact that there seems to be, even before you were sworn in as mayor, that there were already cracks happening in the alliance. And for viewers, just to keep them in the picture, I mean, the alliance that's currently now in charge is the alliance, and it's a partnership between the Patriotic Alliance, the African Independent Congress, the Pan-Africanist Congress, and for the very first time, the ANC and the EFF are in this, and they seem to be the ones that are really sort of moving the chess pieces here. Some even saying that the EFF is too big for its boots, and they are the ones dictating things that are happening. And some want you as mayor, others don't want you as mayor. So let's perhaps talk about this alliance and how stable this alliance is.
Yeah, and this alliance is very stable. This is where I empathize with the president of the Patriotic Alliance, where he says the narrative being pushed by the media is totally different to what the reality is. So it's very important for us as a coalition to get the truth out there, to tell the people that we are united. We are only 6 parties in this coalition, and we are indeed united. The narrative that I'm already I will be backstabbed by my coalition partners couldn't be further from the truth. I can illustrate that by telling you that for the first time in 10 years, the budget was approved. First time round. For the first time in 10 years, the IDP was approved first time round. So these lies that's being peddled by the opposition parties to try and divide this coalition, it's something that we've become accustomed to, and we just have to roll with the punches.
Well, I imagine so. I suppose that's politics at play. I mean, I suppose good, while you were delivering your particular budget, were the most vocal, saying that if you make 30 days, it'll be a miracle and you mustn't get comfortable, that don't even plan ahead because you're not going to get further.
Let's count those 30 days. The first 30 days will therefore be on the 4th of July. The reason why I know it will be on the 4th of July is because when I laid out my plan for the 100 days, we said we will be held accountable. Okay. Accountability will be the watchword for this coalition. The 4th of July will be the first feedback session after 30 days to say how what we've been able to implement in terms of our 100-day plan.
I don't want to get into what he was saying. He was getting a bit personal, and we're not going to go there.
He always does.
Okay, so that's politics, I suppose. Let's very quickly. So you have delivered this. You have priorities. Perhaps, if you can, very quickly highlight those top priorities you want to focus on in these first 100 days.
Look, this municipality is beset with a couple of crises. One, the number one for myself is the crime situation in this metro. You know that New Brighton was declared the capital of this province. Something that's not much publicized is the more than 100 young men that were killed in the northern areas since the beginning of this year. So that's the one thing we need to tackle. Now, the previous MMC of Safety and Security was indeed Lawrence Stewart, and this all happened under his watch. And there was no improvement whatsoever. There was no community engagement, in spite of the fact that I requested that we go and engage the community to find out what is the reason for all these gang-related killings. So what we've come up with a plan. We have surveillance cameras that were implemented in the 2010 World Cup to the value of 300 million rand, and it's all now ineffective. And what we decided to do is that we still have 45 million rands worth of equipment that's been in storage for quite some time. So we're going to activate that again. Our JOC, our Joint Operations Center, will also be refurbished and made new, basically.
Yeah.
So that's on the crime front. And then we've got several measures that we want to implement in terms of electricity. Our losses per year amounts to about 800 million rand there. Yeah. So that crisis, then you've got the crisis of our bulk failing infrastructure. We've got a grant now of 1 billion rand as well. And then the other crisis is the water crisis. Luckily, we've had some rains in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. And we are now standing, our dams are at 21% on average, which gives us about plus minus 250 days, if not more. For the next 250 days, we should be sorted.
And those are the main issues, particularly the drought issue and that kind of supply. But the Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality, as you mentioned earlier, it's 19.1 billion for the 2023-2024 capital and operating budgets. And now these received a clean bill of health from the National Treasury, which is, I suppose, a good thumbs up. What do you believe contributed to this?
Look, we do have the National Treasury has given us a clean bill of health, you are correct. It was described as sound. We do have a good team in terms of budget and treasury, led by our competent CFO, Mr. Selwyn Pace. And he's always had a good relationship with budget and treasury, where we have an open lines of communication. And it's all to do with transparency and accountability as well. And that is what we're going to continue doing. We're not throwing out the baby with the bathwater, Leanne.
Yeah.
There were some good things done previously. It's now a matter of improving upon that.
I know you spoke to potholes, a big one. That's a big one. Water leaks, because that I know has been something that the community have been constantly complaining about, and also the illegal connections, electricity connections. So I know there's a lot on your plate. Let's check in on the 4th of July. Let's see how we do, and good luck.
Looking forward to your call, and you ladies look lovely in your uniform. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, listen, we do wish you the best of luck, because the people in the Nelson Mandela Bay really do need this service. They've been calling for a stable government, a stable mayor that they can have and that can implement the changes that you are talking about. That, of course, was the newly elected Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality Executive Mayor, Gary van Niekerk, talking to us about his administration's plans.